8 animals that changed history. They don't do red carpet interviews. They don't write self-promoting memoirs to climb the bestseller charts. Though, let's be real, some of them definitely know how to strike a pose for the camera. Yet, for centuries, animals have captured the human imagination in ways people simply can't. Some have moved us with their unshakable loyalty, while others have become global icons for saving lives in the heat of battle or the depths of a plague. A few of them? Well, they actually changed the entire course of human history. While the list of notable critters is long, today we're breaking down the 8 most legendary animals you absolutely need to know. Let's start with a pioneer whose journey was as historic as it was heartbreaking. Laika. On November 3rd, 1957, the world changed forever. A mixed-breed stray dog from the streets of Moscow became the first living creature ever to be launched into Earth's orbit. Her name was Laika, and her face was plastered across newspapers globally. But for decades, the true story of what happened inside that capsule was kept under wraps. The Soviet officials at the time led the public to believe Laika would die a relatively painless death from a lack of oxygen after several days. But the truth, revealed only in 2002, was much more traumatic. After takeoff, the terrified dog's pulse rate tripled. The cabin of Sputnik 2 quickly overheated, reaching over 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Within just 7 hours, Laika was gone. Soviet officials continued to claim she was alive for 9 days to save face. But her sad fate remains a sobering reminder of the costs of the early space race. Next, we move from the stars to the African savanna with a story that ignited a global debate on ethics and conservation. We're talking about Cecil. In 2015, Cecil wasn't just any lion. He was the 13-year-old king of Zimbabwe's Wang National Park, known for his majestic black mane and his strangely calm demeanor around humans. He was a favorite for tourists and researchers alike, but his life ended in a way that sparked international outrage. A hunting party used an elephant carcass to lure Cecil out of his protected territory, where a dentist from Minnesota killed him with a compound bow. The backlash was massive. It shone a harsh spotlight on the multi-million-dollar trophy hunting industry. While supporters argue that the $50,000 fees paid by hunters can fund local economies and conservation, detractors pointed to the ethical nightmare and corruption that often follows the trade. Cecil's legacy lives on as a symbol for wildlife protection worldwide. Now, let's shift gears to a story of hope during one of America's darkest times. If you love a good rags-to-riches story, you have to know Seabiscuit. During the height of the Great Depression, the American public was desperate for a win. Enter Seabiscuit, a knobby-kneed, supposedly lazy horse who lost his first 17 races. He looked like a total write-off. But then, he was sold to a new owner and paired with an unconventional trainer who saw something no one else did. Under that guidance, Seabiscuit didn't just improve, he transformed. In 1938, he faced off against the Triple Crown winner, War Admiral, in what many call the race of the century. Seabiscuit came from behind to win by 4 lengths. He became a national phenomenon, nicknamed the People's Champion, because his unlikely success mirrored the struggles and hopes of millions of Americans trying to survive the Depression. By the time he retired, he held the record for the highest stakes won by an American thoroughbred. But sometimes, survival isn't about the economy, it's about medicine. In 1925, the remote town of Nome, Alaska, was facing a terrifying diphtheria outbreak. Children were dying, and the life-saving antitoxin was hundreds of miles away. With whiteout conditions and sub-zero temperatures making planes useless, the town's only hope was a relay of sled dogs. This became known as the Great Race of Mercy. 20 teams of Siberian Huskies battled the elements to carry the serum 670 miles. Balto, the lead dog on the final leg, became the face of the mission. Today, a statue of him stands in New York City's Central Park. However, history has recently started giving more credit to Togo, the 12-year-old dog who covered a staggering 264 miles, way more than Balto's 53. Whether you're Team Balto or Team Togo, these dogs save an entire town from extinction. Our next hero took to the skies, but not in a spaceship. We're talking about Cher Ami, a homing pigeon who served in World War I. In October 1918, 550 soldiers of the U.S. Army's 77th Division, the Lost Battalion, were trapped behind German lines. To make matters worse, their own American artillery started shelling them by mistake. Major Charles Whittlesey tried sending pigeons with messages to stop the fire, but one by one, they were shot down. Cher Ami was the last bird left. When he was released, he flew directly into a barrage of German fire. He was struck in the chest and blinded in one eye. Yet he took to the air again. He flew 25 miles in just 30 minutes to deliver the message. The shelling stopped, and the battalion was saved. Cher Ami survived his injuries, though he lost a leg, and he remains one of the most decorated heroes of the Great War. But Cher Ami wasn't the only animal hero in the trenches. Meet Sergeant Stubby, the most decorated war dog in history. Stubby started as a stray who befriended soldiers training in the U.S. When they shipped out to France, the soldiers smuggled him aboard. Stubby wasn't just a mascot. He was a literal lifesaver. He learned to detect poisonous mustard gas before the men could, barking to alert them of attacks. He could hear the whine of incoming artillery shells before they landed, and was even credited with capturing a German spy. Stubby was the first dog ever promoted to the rank of sergeant in the U.S. Army. After the war, he met 3 different presidents and became the official mascot of Georgetown University. Not bad for a stray dog from Connecticut. As we move into the modern era, we encounter a sheep that changed the world of science forever. Dolly. Born 1996, Dolly wasn't a hero in the traditional sense, but she was a biological miracle. She was the first mammal ever cloned from an adult cell. Before Dolly, scientists didn't think it was possible to take a cell from an adult animal and reprogram it to create a new life. When her birth was announced in 1997, it hit the world like a lightning bolt. It sparked massive debates about the ethics of cloning and the future of medicine. Dolly lived a relatively healthy life at the Roslin Institute in Scotland until 2003. While she was just a sheep to some, to the scientific community, she was the milestone that proved we could literally copy complex life. Finally, we end with perhaps the most heart-wrenching story of all, a story that defines the word devotion. Hachiko. Hachiko was an Akita dog in Japan who lived with his owner, Professor Hitsuburo Ueno. Every day, Hachi would walk his owner to the Shibuya train station and wait for him to return from work. But on May 21st, 1925, the professor suffered a fatal stroke at the university and never came home. For the next 10 years, Hachiko returned to that train station every single afternoon at the exact time the train was due. He waited until his own death in 1935. His loyalty became a national symbol in Japan, representing the spirit of family and faithfulness. Today, there's a bronze statue of Hachi at that very station, and his story continues to be told in movies and books around the world. From the front lines of war to the frontiers of space and science, these 8 animals prove that you don't need a voice to leave a legacy. They remind us that the bond between humans and animals